Before we talk about those construction projects downtown, just take a look. I believe this is on Mass Ave, it looks like, with the downtown skyline in the background. We do have some cooler temperatures that are headed our way, or maybe settling in already this morning, and a rainy start. Although you saw the person on their bike not stopping them from starting to move early this morning. We're glad you're up with us here on 13 Sunrise. It is Wednesday morning. It's a wet Wednesday, though. Looks like the showers are starting to move out, at least in downtown Indianapolis.
Yeah, it was dry there. A lot of puddles that you have to drive through or walk through in that district there. But this is kind of what we're seeing all across the board here in central Indiana.
Going to be hit and miss this morning. We are getting a little break, a lull, if you will, in the rain, but more showers. They're developing back to our west. So don't put the rain gear away just yet. Let's take you out to the radar and show you what we've been tracking for you. This is a live look at our radar this morning. First, we're going to start over on the east side of the metro as we've had a complex of showers, even some embedded heavier downpours track through Hancock County, southern portions of Madison County, now impacting Muncie, Newcastle, and down into the I-70 corridor there over in Henry County. Want to take you a little south? Another round of some rain, steadier at times, moving along I-74, southern Shelby County. This is draped across southern portions of Morgan, Johnson counties as well, and now back to our west. Starting to see some steadier downpours develop. This is in Clay County, so we're talking Clay City up to Brazil, and then from Terre Haute down to Sullivan over in western Indiana. This is all lifting off to the east-northeast for us along this cold front and this boundary that's moving in that direction. So steadier rainfall expected over the next few hours, and then we'll see some pop-up showers possible later today. A little lower of a rain chance, but still potentially impactful for that evening drive home. We're in the 50s now. We are only headed into the low 60s later on this afternoon. We've got some much cooler air headed our way with some overnight lows where we could see some frost. That's in your 7-day forecast. 6:02 now. We'll get you updated in the traffic center. We've been watching a couple things going on. First, despite the rain, we have seen some construction activities firing up once again over near State Road 39. So what you're looking at right here, some brake lights up in the distance as we've got some crews that have arrived on scene, and things are really starting to slow up as you approach State Road 39 out here along I-70 in the westbound direction. So we've been really watching some slowdowns develop out here. I'll take you out to the maps and show you where this is located. Notice that we've got stop and go traffic that's now approaching State Road 267. We'll keep you posted there. Also some slow traffic starting to work itself out on the northwest side. Still seeing some brake lights here on I-65 northbound near the Whitestown exit.
Thank you, Lindsay. Well, an important heads up for families in Zionsville this morning.
Zionsville Community High School, you're on an e-learning day today. It's because of a water line issue there in the mechanical area of campus. I was kind of celebrating a little bit too. I got to sleep in a little bit longer. So those repair crews are there looking for a solution, but they say there's no water supply for the high school, so that's why the entire campus is closed.
Yeah, and that includes the Aquatic Center and Star Bank. Students will get their assignments, they say, by 9 a.m. So the school is still deciding what happens to the event schedule for tonight. I'm sure they're right in the middle of all their spring sports. So we'll keep you posted with what we learn. Today's city and state leaders will announce what they're calling a pretty significant addition to Indy's entertainment and hospitality scene.
We have a lot of projects going on right now that are adding to the downtown landscape. Jenna Webster is live downtown this morning with a look at some of those projects. There are so many happening all at once, Jenna.
Yeah, there's a lot. If you're driving around downtown, you've probably seen it. It might be, a little bit of a pain dealing with those detours. Visit Indy says over the next 5 years, we've got a lot of these big projects going on. But it's because of these big projects, despite all the detours, that are helping us host big events like Final Four and all those conventions. One of those big projects, you see it, they've been out here all morning working hard with us. That is the new Signia Hotel, and it's actually getting ready to wrap up pretty soon this year. The hotel is going up on Georgia Street near Capitol, and it also means a big expansion for the convention center. According to the convention center, that expansion alone means a new $230 million in economic impact, and that's because of the new conventions they're going to be able to host. It also helps retain some of those big conventions that we already do have here, like the FFA and the FDIC. That was the firefighters convention that just wrapped up. And that's not the only big hotel project going on under construction. The Ritz-Carlton Hotel, that's going up across from Gamebridge Fieldhouse, and will also include a new live music venue, which will be pretty cool. That's expected to open in 2028. But back out here live, Georgia Street, which we remember was open, and that is now closed down again. We're working on some finishing touches, but this is a big part of plans for the convention center to be able to host some outdoor events like the Final Four tip-off tailgate. There was nearly 60,000 people that attended that event alone. And it was something Indiana Sports Corps says they're really looking forward to all these projects being complete, transforming downtown, the new hotels, Georgia Street, all that's going to be done before the next time we host the Final Four, the women's in 2028, the men's in 2029, just kind of helping make the city walkable, giving things lots of places to stay and things to do. So lots of detours, but they say it's going to be all worth it.
All right, well, we'll see very soon. We got some projects wrapping up. Thank you, Jenna.
Well, a developing story this morning. Metro Police tell us they believe a family argument is what led to a shooting on the east side last night that left a man in critical condition.
Officers say they were called to that area on North Linwood Avenue near Michigan Street around 11:30 last night, and that's where they found that man who was shot on scene. He was taken to a local hospital and is in stable condition, they say, at last check, but we're checking in with police for more updates on this story. Also this morning, a woman is in critical condition after a shooting on the east side of Indianapolis. You're looking at the scene around 8:30 last night. This was near 41st and Arlington Avenue.
Police say they do have a person of interest in custody. Now, they do believe this shooting happened inside a home along 41st Street, so we are working to learn more, and after police say they've identified a motive.
State leaders are stepping in after that scathing audit of the Family and Social Services Administration.
And the audit found $200 million in improper payments over just 3 years. The agency's secretary is answering to lawmakers as they push for accountability and fixes. Marina Silva is in studio with us. And Marina, I'm sure taxpayers aren't happy, but what are lawmakers asking for?
Absolutely. And the ones we spoke with, they're concerned. That's $200 million of taxpayer funds overspent. And as we've reported, auditors reviewed hundreds of claims and found widespread issues. It's things like missing background checks for caregivers, billing for unauthorized services, little or no documentation supporting claims, and care provided that didn't match what was approved. Now, the FSSA secretary says in addition to working to get repayment from the providers, the state is expanding oversight and planning on future audits.
Well, I would say that the oversight was not as tight as it should have been during the COVID era, right? And I think that's the case pretty much across the board with the key 14 areas.
Now, again, that full audit, it's not publicly available yet, and the secretary says he doesn't believe there will be changes to the access and care that the program gives as they work through this. Now, coming up at 6:30, we're hearing from some state lawmakers reacting to the news and what they're calling for.
All right, hopefully we'll get that figured out pretty soon. Thanks.
Well, today, people in Indianapolis have another chance to learn more about some plans to regulate data center developments in the city.
At last night's session, the Department of Metropolitan Development addressed what a zoning ordinance amendment would actually look like. That includes noise, lighting, height, and even building size and traffic. The amendment would also require new facilities be zoned as a special use district specifically for data centers.
So there's another session today at noon. You do have to sign up in advance, but we've made it easy to do that with the link at WTHR.com. Now, city leaders do plan to introduce the amendment that we just told you about at the City County Council meeting in June. Then they'd wait to approve it, if so, the next month in July. All right, almost 6:10. Good morning, Lindsay.
Good morning to you. What start to our morning? The commute going to be saturated in some spots. We've got an eye on the radar as a cold front is now lifting to our northeast. Showers most likely this morning. They will move out later today. We've got some frosty mornings, though, to talk about in our near future.
All right, thanks so much. And yeah, they'll be out on the track here in Speedway today, gearing up for the month of May. But who had the fastest time on the first day on the oval yesterday? We've got that for you coming up.
And King Charles continues his visit to the U.S. Capitol. We shared a message with a historic address to Congress. We'll talk about it when we come back.